Okay, so we're learning today about davening or saying brachot next to a restroom, next to a bathroom. And also, if we get to it, also when you have a potty, a children potty in your house, which is also quite common and quite relevant. And we'll start with a story. I think it happened about a year or 2 years ago. I came back from on the train in Jerusalem, got off in Jerusalem, and it was getting close to Shkia, and I still haven't done a mincha. So I'm rushing up the stairs to find a minyan for mincha. Well, there's a shul, there's a shul there, but for some reason there was a group of people who davened mincha on the stairs or somewhere in the lobby there, in a train station in Jerusalem. Train station, it was enough room there. We went in the shul, right? So we were davening there. We didn't block anyone. There was quite enough room there. And we were davening Shmoneh Esrei. As we were davening Shmoneh Esrei, I was standing next to someone, a non-religious guy. I'm not sure why he didn't like the fact that there was people davening there so much, and he came to bother us. And as we were davening Shmoneh Esrei, he says, as we're davening next to, you think you're facing the Har HaBayit, you think you're facing the Kotel, you're actually facing the toilets, the restrooms, because behind this wall, there's the restrooms. Okay? Yeah, there's a small restroom behind when you go up the stairs from more or less the level of the trains. Okay, we finished davening, and the guy next to me, I think he was British, he was very upset. He's very upset at why someone come and bother me when we're davening. Why do you have to do it? And then he says to me things, actually, I was davening for a restroom. What does that mean? He works in a startup company. I'm not sure what happened to the company since then, but he worked then in a startup company in Modi'in, and they make toilet seats with all sorts of sensors in that seat. That whenever you go to the restroom, the sensors sense different things and can detect the sugar level and all sorts of other things. Just when you go into the toilet, they have lasers. I'm not sure how they do it. And they can detect different things. And if someone has a disease or something, so automatically he can get a notification for it. And hey, you need to take your medication, right? And that day, the CEO of the company had very important meetings I think it was in the States, to try and raise more money for the company. So actually, he was praying for, I wouldn't say for the restroom, but he was all of the company is davening that he'll succeed in his mission, and they'll manage to raise money for the company. I'm not sure what happened then. And we ended with a smile and said, "That's a story I need to say. You gave me now a story." So it brings a few interesting questions. Going to such a bathroom on Shabbat, can you use it? Can't you use it? You want it has sensors, right? It has sensors. So you want, yeah, it's electric sensors, but maybe you can. We won't discuss it now. But now we're discussing about what happens when you face a bathroom. Can you face the bathroom when you daven? Can you face the bathroom? There's a wall, so if there's a wall, okay, so if there's a wall, then this will be fine. And everything's flushed away. So we'll discuss today two questions, or a few questions. One, how do we define the walls of the bathroom? Two, how do we define bathrooms today? How bathrooms today are they similar to the bathrooms of the olden times, or maybe they're different? And another question is we'll have, when you have those, how do you call this, chemical bathrooms, right? And the portable ones, if you go to places with many people, so many times, they'll bring those portable bathrooms. Okay, so can you daven? Let's say, for some reason, the only place you have to daven is 10 meters from the bathrooms, but facing those bathrooms. Is there a difference between those bathrooms, and our bathroom? Okay, so these are questions we will discuss today. Bezat Hashem. Okay. So let's begin. So we are in Siman P. Oops, sorry. Pei Dalid. Siman Pei Dalid. And that Siman talks about the restroom for Kriyat Shema. And Arnold, as you nodded, we have a difference between the bathrooms of the olden times and the ones of today. So what's the difference between them? The bathrooms today are much cleaner. Okay, much cleaner. That's why in the Gemara they call it the restrooms of Persian, the Persian restroom. They didn't have flushing of water there, but it was built on a slope. And whatever goes out and disappears from that area. So that bathroom might be a better bathroom, a cleaner bathroom for Kriyat Shema. And you would think that the bathrooms today are clean. They're clean. What's the problem with the bathrooms of today? Sometimes it's not 100% clean, right? The toilet still doesn't keep clean. And second, sometimes you have kids. And kids don't always know how to aim well, right? And so also the floor gets a bit dirty. So davening inside or saying a bracha inside obviously is a problem. Yeah, that's obviously a problem. Inside the bathroom. Even the bathrooms of today, even if it's clean, you might think that today's bathroom is clean, right? It's clean. Everything gets flushed away. It's washed away. You still can't say a bracha in a bathroom today, although it's theoretically clean because it's not always clean. It's not always clean. Also, I'll say, if you don't have kids, you don't have kids. If you don't have kids, so that's something else. So you have grandkids, right? They'll come. You have 4 grandkids living in your house, right? So yeah, so you have kids. So that's thing of listening inside the bathroom. Some different things, maybe we can be a bit more lenient. But generally speaking, the bathroom of today, we consider it as a bathroom. It's not 100% clean. We don't say a blessing inside the bathroom, although theoretically you might think it's fine. Yeah, but that's also today, I think we view a bathroom today, we view it as, although it's cleaner than what they had in the past, we view it as something which isn't the cleanest room in the house, right? Yeah, you want to put the mezuzah on. Okay, you want to put the mezuzah on it. You want, I don't know, you want to advertise your house. Look at it's look at the clothes. You close the room. Okay, when you have guests, you make sure the door is closed. Okay, although it's cleaner than the past, we still view it as something which is something we want to close, and therefore, obviously, you don't say a blessing in the bathroom. What about out of the bathroom? Says the Shulchan Aruch that if you can't daven in front of a bathroom. In the olden times, they didn't have walls. So when you're talking about a bathroom, you're just talking about an area where people used to go, that use it as a bathroom, not a room. It's just an area. But says the Shulchan Aruch, if it has walls, it's fine. It has walls, it's fine. Okay, and you can daven in front, opposite the walls. So it seems like davening opposite the walls of the bathroom will be fine. Outside, obviously, outside the walls. Outside the walls. But says the Mishnah Berurah, there's a difference here, depends. If the walls are built only for the bathroom, and the walls also absorb, we're talking about the Mishnah Berurah lived before they had running water. Okay, so I'm reading Mishnah Berurah, but think as if we aren't on Zoom, we don't have a computer here, it's a fiction, okay? I'm getting water from the well, okay, and I can't open the tap. We're now living 150 years ago. So the walls of the bathroom, also they're filthy, right? Also they're filthy. So the Mishnah Berurah says, if the walls are built just for the bathroom, we view it as if the bathroom itself, you don't daven in front of the walls. But if the walls are built also for the bathroom and also for a different room, that's fine. In all the bathrooms in our houses, you have a wall for the bathroom and also for the room next to it, right? The same wall is used for both rooms. So according to that, you can daven opposite the bathroom. Another difference, we said, we don't live 150 years ago. And we do have running water in the room. And our bathrooms today are cleaner. Okay, they are cleaner than bathrooms even 100 years ago, right? They're cleaner. So obviously the walls are cleaner. The walls have ceramics in them usually, right? The walls are, you think when you design your house, you want it to look nice. It's not the walls that, you don't treat the walls itself as the toilet. The walls are the walls of a restroom, but they're nice walls. So obviously you can daven even if you are next to a wall of a bathroom. Okay, so that's obvious. So in the train station, did we have a problem davening where we were? No, we could daven there. We could daven there. But now we come to a question about those portable toilets. Okay, the portable toilets. Okay, let's say I'm camping out, and for some reason, that's the only place I have to daven. So obviously, is look for somewhere else. If you have a different place to daven, don't daven when you're facing those chemical toilets, right? Choose somewhere else. Even if the smell doesn't come to you, choose somewhere else. That will be the first answer. What happens if I don't have any other area? And why? Don't ask me why, but that's where I have. Or I started davening. Okay, I started davening. I didn't notice it, and then all of a sudden I lift my eyes. Oops, how do you daven here? We have 10 meters from us. We have those portable toilets. Does it happen that we don't always notice what we have in front of us? It happens, right? It happens. I'm sure it happened to each one of us more than once. That we need something, and all of a sudden we today with the cell phone. So you walk, and all of a sudden, how did that pole get to my way? How did it move to my way? Right? If you use the phone while you walk. But we didn't notice it. So here we have a question. On one hand, those walls are made just for the toilet. On the other hand, and also, it's not a clean room as the room in your house. So what do you think about that? Good question, right? Good question. I think that the way it's made, you have the plastic box that's supposed to be more to give privacy, and in the plastic box you have another container for whatever comes out, right? So you actually have a container for whatever comes out and the box for privacy. So preferably, as we said, don't daven in front of those things. But if it happened to daven, so I'll say it's fine. You don't have to daven again. Okay, that's about those toilets. Okay, another. I'm skipping a bit to pay Zain, and then I'm going back to pay Hey. Okay, so we did now pay Dalet, which is 84. I'm skipping to 87, and then I'm going back to 85. And the reason I'm skipping because it's more or less the same topic of toilets. If you have children in your house and children have a potty, okay, children have a potty. So obviously, if the potty is dirty, you can't daven, you can't say Birkat Hamazon, you can't daven inside the room, right? And you have to take it out of the room. What if the potty is clean? Okay, what if the potty is clean? Can you daven in the room when the potty is in the room? Okay, so the halacha here differentiates between what it's made out of, metal or wood or clay, and it depends on how it absorbs. It's made plastic today. At least the plastics that potties are made out of, I'm not sure about all plastics, are relatively, it doesn't absorb. It can clean quite easily, and it gets quite clean. So if the potty is clean, you can daven in the room if the potty is there. Preferably flip it over, and then it's covered in itself. But if it's clean, so it's fine. Okay, so then we talked about potties, we talked about davening in the restrooms.
Not so much in Israel, but in the States, people keep cats as pets, and they have litter boxes.
Right.
I assume you couldn't daven in front of that.
So cats and the litter box, that doesn't have so much of a smell. Okay, the smell much less than humans, especially with that special pebble that they have there, it absorbs the smell. So maybe I would say Dechatchila, don't daven there because still you want to have a clean atmosphere, a clean area, but it doesn't stink. It doesn't stink, and you can daven there. And also they usually they cover themselves, so it's that's actually fine. Okay, that's about. You have cats. Where can you say Kriyat Shema? I'm going back to Pei Hey. Pei Hey says the Shulchan Aruch, and this halacha, I'll say maybe I'm not sure how much it's relevant in a practical practice, okay, in a practical way. It's more in the philosophical way or the meaningful way of what does it mean of area and place. I think you mentioned the shir. I don't remember the shir I'm giving tomorrow in Nitzanim. So you mentioned the shir in Nitzanim tomorrow. So we're going to speak tomorrow about Shemitah and Haser, the idea of Torah being in this world. Okay, Torah in this world. One of the most important things in a world is a place, room, an area. Right? We live in an area, we want to have a place with that's our house, that's not our house. Part of understanding that Hashem comes into this world is that Hashem isn't kedusha or divine presence. It's not something abstract that you think about. That it comes and it's present in this world. When we say in this world, we also mean by a specific place. So when we daven, we face Jerusalem. If you're in Jerusalem, you face the place of Beit HaMikdash, Har HaBayit. The western wall is the western wall of Beit HaMikdash. So we believe that Hashem appears in a specific place, okay, because the connecting between heaven and earth means there's a designated area where that's where we do the connection. And if we, although we might think Meloch Ol Haaretz Kevodo, Hashem is here, Hashem is there, Hashem is really everywhere. Why? Do you remember this song from when we were kids? I think it's a Chabad song. I'm not sure. Hashem is here, Hashem is there, Hashem. Wait, Uncle Moishi. Okay. Uncle Moishi is Chabad. So yeah, okay. So Uncle Moishi is here in this. As long as we don't get a pizza here while we learn a pizza song, right? So if Hashem is everywhere, one might think Hashem is everywhere. We can daven everywhere. We can say Kriyas Shema everywhere, in the bathroom, in the temple. Hashem is everywhere. The idea of Hashem in this world is Hashem is in this world, but in this world, each place has its unique meaning for it. It's unique. My house is not your house. My house is not the outside. The garden isn't like the front yard. Like each place is unique, has a different meaning to it. And in each area, we see something else. If you like agriculture, so in different places you grow different things, right? In Ma'ale Adumim, that's what you grow, mainly heat in Ma'ale Adumim, right? But down in the Dead Sea, you can grow palms. Palms will not grow in the Harmon, right? Each one, I think, have its own unique place. And the same as Kedusha, holiness. Each place has its ways, more fitted for Kedusha and not more fitted for Kedusha. Says the Shulchan Aruch, a person should not go in Mivo'otam Tunafot, dirty streets. In those days, streets had the sewage running through the streets, right? Not like today. And cover his mouth and say Kriyat Shema. A person should not do it. Even if he's in the middle of saying Kriyat Shema, in the middle of davening, and he goes to a street which is filthy, he should stop from saying Kriyat Shema, and only afterwards he will continue. Yeah. Wearing tefillin is a problem, right? Wearing tefillin, at least he should cover the tefillin. Oh, okay, but okay. Obviously, with a tefillin, we shouldn't come into to bathrooms. But here, it's not a bathroom; it's just a very dirty area, and they shouldn't. Okay, so a person shouldn't go to those places and daven. How often do we meet it? Not sure. If you go to shul, and you're late to shul, so you start saying Asher Yeshua Betecha before shul, and 10 meters before the shul on the right side, there's the big green garbage can. So before you get to the garbage can, stop saying Ashrei. After you pass it, continue saying Ashrei. Okay, that's a relevant question for us. And the idea is understanding that Hashem is in the world, and Hashem appears in the world means that each area has a different meaning to it, because this world we divide between different things. That this shul isn't like this shul, this table isn't like this table. So this world means that there's a kind of separation or difference between different places. So that's why they're outside, not inside. In the building, yeah. In the building. And also, usually a garbage can in the shul doesn't stink as those big green garbage cans. Usually, what do you put inside? Papers. What do you put inside? That's fine. Yeah, that's fine. Says the Shulchan Aruch, okay, Mishnah Berurah, sorry, that a person shouldn't, when he's in the restroom, shouldn't learn Hebrew. In the restroom, shouldn't learn Hebrew. He brings here one reason, but the reason is that if you start trying to understand what's the meaning of this word, you start thinking of psukim. And thinking of psukim, you'll be thinking of psukim in a restroom. So you can see that not just you shouldn't talk in a place of a restroom, also don't think about a place of restroom. The Rambam, by the way, holds that learning Hebrew might be a mitzvah taseh, might be a mitzvah of learning Hebrew. So when you learn Hebrew, might be a mitzvah. Yeah. So a community pool, we skipped about a pool, okay? But a pool isn't a bathroom. Yeah, so we divide those pools to three areas. One area is the shower room where everyone takes showers. You shouldn't have in there. One room is maybe the entrance room, the lobby to the shower room, depending. So it depends if it's empty or not empty. And one is the pool. Everyone is dressed in the pool. You can even, if you need to, on when they snooze, it's the men's day. You can even have a minyan there in the outside in the pool. Okay, because that's a relatively clean area. So I'm not sure what the locker room has in it, but if it's just a locker room and that's it, you can listen to the show in the locker room. If it's where they take the showers, so that's a problem. Okay.
You couldn't take a Hebrew newspaper into the bathroom.
So what about Hebrew newspaper? So there's a difference between learning Hebrew. Okay, I'm not sure if it's. No, I'm not sure. Sorry, no. The Mishnah Berurah says there's a difference between learning. At learning, you try to think with what does this word mean, and you bring a proof from the pasuk. So learning Hebrew, you're connected to psukim. But says the Shulchan Aruch, דברים של חול מותר לאומרם שם בלשון הקודש. There's no problem in saying things in Hebrew in a bathroom. Okay, the problem isn't in using Hebrew words in the bathroom. The problem is learning Hebrew words, and then if you start learning Hebrew words, you'll start to bring connections from different psukim to understand the word. Okay, so the problem isn't in the word itself. Open from the door. Hey, forgot to open it? I forgot to open the door. Okay. Can you? Okay. That's the key. Okay, so we can speak Hebrew in places where we aren't allowed to learn. The problem is now to try and learn Hebrew, and then you try to bring all sorts of proofs and connections from psukim. Okay, so that's about Hebrew. You can also say different words we sometimes use for Hashem, like Rachum, Chanun, because it's not a name of holiness. We refer to Hashem, can also refer to people. Okay, but we shouldn't mention names that don't you can't erase. For some reason, some kids always have places when they think, and the bath is times where they think about things. Many times when I give the kids a bath, they'll ask me a question, what they learned in class today, or in Gan. I'm talking about the younger kids in Gan. What about Chag, this Chag, and this Chag? Okay, so you have to wait until you go out of the bathroom. Okay, and the Shulchan Aruch here brings the halacha, which also isn't common, but if for some reason I see someone doing a sin in the bathroom, okay, or in the bathing area, and I can say to him, don't do it, although it's in the bathroom. To prevent someone from doing a sin, I can do it in the bathroom itself. How can I have an example for it? I'm not sure. I'm going to the mikveh on Shabbos. Okay, I went to the mikveh on Shabbos, and then with someone else, and both of us are undressed. We're getting ready to go to the mikveh, and he's going to squeeze his towel. Okay, squeezing is forbidden on Shabbat. Like I think, you aren't allowed to squeeze a towel on Shabbat. Okay, so although I'm singing a halacha in a place where it's a non-clean place, to prevent someone from doing a sin, that I can do. Okay, that I can do, and we will learn one more halacha, and with that we'll conclude for today. Okay, but here I'll need your help with the English. How do we say Ba'al Keri in English? Let's translate that. The other way is someone who saw seed coming out of him. Okay, so saw seed coming out of him. In the times of Ezra, they used to have a mikveh. They used to go to the mikveh and to toivel. Many years ago, already, at the times of the Mishnah, the stop the toiveling. So you'll still see Hasidim toiveling every morning, and then it's before the daven. But Baal Keri, even as someone who, for different reasons, for seed or from rations or whatever, he can daven. As long as it's clean, he can daven, and he can say Kriyat Shema.
Even without going to a mikveh.
Even if I'm going to a mikveh. Even if I'm going to a mikveh. And even if I'm going to mikveh, and even when Ezra had the decree, they said, oh, going to mikveh or washing with 9 kabim, which is about 18 liters. So if you take a shower for a few minutes, that's like toiveling for specific things. Okay, for men, some people call it men's toiveling, but that's like toiveling. So in the beginning, they had this gzera, this takana of Ezra, that men had to go to mikveh quite often for different reasons. And then they saw that in the end, what happens, it prevents people from learning. It prevents people from davening. So I can't daven. I didn't go to a mikveh. I can't learn. So in the end, the cost of this takana was greater than the benefit of it. So they decided, okay, it's fine. We don't need this takana. We can nullify it, and you can go daven or say Kriyat Shema or other blessing or learn Torah even without going to a mikveh. You want to be embarrassed. You're cold. Okay, yeah. Still, Hasidim, everyone goes to the mikveh. That's the normal thing to go to the mikveh, so that's the normal thing. But still, it's sometimes the mikveh is closed. They said, okay, that's it. We don't go to the mikveh, and you want to go to the mikveh. That's great, but the person shouldn't refrain from davening, shouldn't refrain from saying Shema because he didn't go to the mikveh. And we will conclude here. Yeah.